But look, I don't want to sound pie, but isn't this supposed to be about the future of the school and what sort of education we want for the boys, isn't it?
Of course it is. Ends and means, my dear chap. Ends and means.
Barnaby. I was chatting to Irving earlier today.
Oh, good.
And he tells me you know Clapper Smith quite well.
Oh.
Oh, it's extraordinary.
It's not all that extraordinary. Married to a cousin of mine.
Really?
Well, these things do happen, Carter.
Yes, but he's on the Board of Governors.
Yeah.
And you never let on. You are a cool one, Barnaby.
Oh, now my dark secret is out, Carter.
Well, I say, I'm surprised you're not applying for the headship. You're not, are you?
What?
Applying for the headship.
Absolutely not.
You'd make a jolly strong candidate.
Thank you, Carter. But you can set your mind at rest. I was once an ambitious young man, I seem to remember. Expected to go far, make my mark, and so on. Only intended to stay here a year or two, then on and up, you know? I look back on those days with a sense of wonder. Forgotten what it's like to want to go far.
Yes. Yes, I see exactly what you mean. He's very sound, isn't he?
Who?
Clapper Smith. Very sound. Deep, I hear.
Is he? Oh, he's a man of remarkably few words, I can tell you that.
Does he ever talk to you about the future of the school at all?
Yes, he does, now and then, Carter.
What are his views?
He thinks the school should have a beagle pack.
Oh.
It's the only subject on which he holds strong views. Beagling.
I don't know much about beagling, Barnaby.
Oh, what a pity.
Do you...
I can tell you one thing about beagles. You must never refer to their tails.
Oh?
Sterns. Beagles have sterns.
Ah, yes, I see.
In fact, if you're serious in your application, I think you should go into beagling in some detail. The purchase of a beagle or two might be a wise investment.
Well, I don't know about that. You're not ragging me, are you, Barnaby?
Absolutely splendid, isn't it, eh? Oh, now, come along. It'll look most impressive in the prospectus. New, modern, fully equipped science laboratory.
Don't like the price we have to pay for it.
Well, it's Blunt who's paying, my dear fella.
Not my point.
Okay. The price of the laboratory is having Alderman Blunt on the Board of Governors, eh?
Can't abide the man.
Oh, I think we can cope with him. You know, young Carter's absolutely over the moon about it.
That science fella. Far too full of himself for my taste.
Now, Carter's a very good chap in his way.
All good chaps according to you.
Mind you, I don't know that I see him as the next headmaster.
Heaven forbid. What about that other young fella?
Oh, what, Powlett Jones? Well, now, there's a thought.
Sound fella.
You know, just by coincidence, I believe Ellie's asked him for tea this afternoon.
Oh, here they come at last. Poor Brigadier Cooper. Algy must have dragged him all around the new building.
Hello there. I hope you haven't wolfed all the cakes, PJ.
No, of course he hasn't. He's been helping me to garden. Oh, look at that. He's making the poor man admire his roses. I think this might be your cue, David, to go and have your important conversation.
Yes, I suppose I'd better.
Oh, it's all right. He only wants to look you over.
Like a prize pig.
Algy did arrange it for your benefit.
Yes, I know, I'm sorry. It's just that I don't know how to cope with this sort of thing. I never know what to say.
Oh, nothing much. Just take your cue from Algy. Go on, David. He won't eat you.
I bet you haven't got one like that anywhere near your garden. Well?
Ah, Barnaby Jones. Keeping well?
Yes, thank you.
What do you make of this thing?
Well, it looks remarkably healthy.
Healthy? It's rampant. I mean, look here, Harry. You've grown roses here, are cabbages.
Mere envy, you understand, David.
Envy, I wouldn't give it house room. Smells like bay rum. Barnaby Jones, you have a sniff. Well?
I like it.
Well, you may be right at that. I wasn't here. I was a thorough rascal at school myself, and a bit of a dunce to boot. So my task is raising hell, and the usher's task is trying to stop me. Some of the time I won, some of the time they did. I managed to knock a bit of sense into me, though, as much as I needed. You follow?
Oh, yes. You could be talking about the typical boy here.
Good, good. That's the way we want it to stay. Don't want it turned into some examination crammers. Keep hearing about this fella Carter. Wants to turn it into some sort of chemist shop. Won't do at all. What's that?
I don't agree. I think the science side does need building up.
Your wife died, didn't she?
Yes.
Shocking business. Find another. And don't leave it too long. That's my advice. Oh, I'm damned if I know what you see in these cabbages. Look here, here he is. What was this business you were talking about the other day, then? Hmm?
Oh, well, the letter's in my study. Come round and have a look.
Well, that didn't take you long. Everything go all right?
I don't know. That man's completely ignorant about education. He'd like to take this school back to the Dark Ages.
Oh, dear. You've been contradicting him.
If getting the headship means I've got to agree with all his reactionary nonsense, I'd rather not have his support or his gratuitous advice about my personal life.
You're not very clever at people, are you, David?
I don't know what you mean.
The Brigadier's a very shrewd man. He's very good at judging people. Good deal better than you, by the sound of it.
You didn't hear what he said.
No, I didn't. But I should guess that he was testing you out to see whether you'd stand up to him. And if you did, I think you'll find you've got his support, whether you want it or not. Make sure you deserve it, won't you, David?
What?
I believe you're going for the headship because you think it will provide some meaning in your own life. Fill the gap that Beth left, perhaps. Am I right?
Yes, of course you are.
We both understand that, David, and we sympathize. I think it might be the very best thing for you. But the best thing for you isn't necessarily the best thing for Bamfield. Is it? Aren't you going over to big school this evening?
I suppose I must. I do feel a bit like poor old Julius Caesar, though. If it was the Ides of March, I wouldn't go near the place. Half of them treat me as if I'm dead already. The other half keeps sidling up for conspiratorial conversations I can't seem to get the drift of. PJ is being the model of rectitude and keeping well out of my way, but Carter smiled at me this morning. A very nasty sight. Doesn't suit him at all, an ingratiating smile. Matter of fact, I'm a bit worried about that chap's health. He's eaten so many lunches at the Conservative Club, his eyes are popping out of his head. What'd you do that for?
I see no reason to reveal my plans at this stage.
Cooper's going round counting his support. On the fingers of one hand, I may say. Looks to me as if Blunt and the Carter camp are a neck in front.
You seem to imply that the contest is just between the two of them.
Yes, I do, and it's not, you know. There's Pettigrew, Repton man, outstanding classical scholar, turned down a Cambridge fellowship. And then there's the mystery man, a chappie from Cape Town. Very well qualified.
What's he called?
Alcock.
Hardly a reassuring name.
You know, the governors have invited me onto the interviewing panel. That's rather nice of them, don't you think?
I trust they won't regret it.
Well, they haven't given me a vote. I'm just a sort of dog's body still. It'll be fun to be there. Aha.
But look, I don't want to sound pie, but isn't this supposed to be about the future of the school and what sort of education we want for the boys, isn't it?
Of course it is. Ends and means, my dear chap. Ends and means.
Barnaby. I was chatting to Irving earlier today.
Oh, good.
And he tells me you know Clapper Smith quite well.
Oh,
It's extraordinary.
it's not all that extraordinary. Married to a cousin of mine.
Really?
Well, these things do happen, Carter.
Yes, but he's on the Board of Governors.
Yeah.
And you never let on. You are a cool one, Barnaby.
Well, now my dark secret is out, Carter.
Well, I say, I'm surprised you're not applying for the headship. You're not, are you?
What?
Applying for the headship.
Absolutely not.
You'd make a jolly strong candidate.
Thank you, Carter. But you can set your mind at rest.